Hey everybody, this is Mr. Beirne again. I'm back with another video, even in the middle of spring break. We're going to do this. I am here with my very, very good friend, Mr. David Hoffman, and we are here to talk about jazz music. Now, Mr. Hoffman here has been playing jazz for a long, long time, and is really good at it. In fact, for a long time, I even took lessons here from Mr. Hoffman, so wanted to chat with him and get some of his, some of the cool stuff that he's been able to do with jazz music. So, welcome. It's great to see you again. Great to chat with you again. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Springfield, Illinois, right down the road.
For sure.
Just a normal Midwestern town.
Mm-hmm.
And later moved a lot of places and went on the road a lot.
Sure. So I see you got a trumpet in your hand there. What was your very first instrument that you played?
The first instrument I played was the piano, like a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of music did you listen to or enjoy when you were first getting started with music?
My father was a trumpet player.
Mm-hmm.
He loved classical music, Bach and Mozart, and modern things like Stravinsky. And so there were all sorts of classical records, plus him practicing all the time. And he loved jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard jazz, something about it just struck me. It really appealed to me. And from an early age, I really enjoyed jazz.
Cool. Very cool. So you started off on piano,
Yes.
and then, let me ask you, what other instruments do you play?
I played the trumpet, play some trombone, bass trumpet, piano. Basically, most anything that has a brass mouthpiece I can kind of get around on. Trumpet and flugelhorn, and this is a cornet, are what I play the most.
Okay.
And I play a lot of piano as well.
What exactly is jazz music? How would you define it?
Well, I would define jazz as a feeling, and it's like a rhythmic feeling the music has.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, a lot of jazz started in New Orleans and in the South, and after the Civil War, there would be bands come through, marching bands, and they'd be playing something like. So what it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But because New Orleans was, some people call it a melting pot. I call New Orleans a fruit salad. You know, you might have an apple in there and a banana and a pear and a peach, and they all keep their separate flavors, but they also merge with each other. So you had all these different kind of people. People from France, from Spain, all through Europe, lots of influence from Africa. And all of that combined, and what Africa gave to American music was, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, you divided the beat different. So if you do that, then if you play something like this, you're going to play it different. And it's going to be different, right? And that's what happened in New Orleans. Musicians in New Orleans want to do it their own way. You know, so, and you can't stop musicians from getting together and playing off of each other. And so you had all these cultures. And even though they tried to keep the cultures separate because we like to separate things in our society, you can't do that with musicians.
Oh, for sure. So what would you say to somebody if they're first listening to jazz music? Like, what's a good thing to latch onto and focus on and listen to when you're in the same place as some jazz music going on?
I'd say the first thing to do is listen to one instrument at a time. say, and a lot of times people are going to focus, say, on drums first, because it's very easy to tell what a drum is. It doesn't sound like anything else. So listen to what the drummer is doing, and then as you do that, you'll start hearing other things around it. Start out with the drums, and then go to maybe whoever's playing what you think is the melody. And then everything else will be kind of fill around. And it's best if you can watch this stuff. If you can go to a live jazz concert, then you can see everyone playing. Or if you can go to YouTube and see musicians playing, I think that's way more engaging than just listening.
So I did want to ask you about one thing. Now, I have a trumpet that I will play a lot in class, and you guys who are in my classes will know my trumpet by the name that I've given him. His name is Louis. Now, Louis is named after one of my absolute favorite musicians ever. That's this guy. This is a guy named Louis Armstrong. He had lots and lots of nicknames, but Louis was a jazz trumpet player, an American, great singer, great musician, great composer, everything. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the genius known as Louis Armstrong and what he brought to American culture and what he brought to American music.
I am with you, Corey, on the fact that he's also one of my favorite musicians of any style. In jazz, one thing happens that doesn't happen in a lot of different musics, and that's a lot of it we make up as we go along. And the better you are at what's called improvisation, that's the heart of jazz. And that's what Louis Armstrong had, is this ability to create a spur of the moment, plus a sound like you've never heard on the instrument. And he influenced every trumpet player that came after him. And he was pretty much the heart of jazz trumpet.
I agree. And plus, he's just lots of fun to listen to. I mean, you listen to him sing.
Lots of fun, and a great singer. When you listen to him sing, you can hear the trumpet in his singing. When you listen to him play the trumpet, you can hear him sing. And just a joyous way of presenting music.
Oh, for sure.
For all the strife he had in his life, when you hear him play, you can hear pain there, but you can, more than anything, just hear the joy.
Oh, for sure. Well, it was hard to be a jazz musician, and particularly an African American like he was. He had a lot of hardships that other people who are not African American or musicians who were not jazz musicians, he had to face a lot of those things, and he still did all of these things that you're talking about. He was still able to, change the direction of music and influence really popular music forever after that. And he's just such a fascinating character, and you can just, like you said, hear the joy in his singing. And I mean, you listen to him play and you can tell instantly that it's him. You listen to him sing and you can tell instantly that it's him, just from that happiness and
that's
that reflection of his life. So go out and listen to some Louis Armstrong.
Yes, definitely listen. You can watch him play and sing on YouTube. There's some great stuff. And remember, he learned trumpet in reform school. He turned his life around. And it's just a great example of the right kind of success.
For sure. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my horn out.
Okay.
Let's do some playing.
Yeah.
So, I'm back here, got my trombone. You guys know this guy is Shorty right here. We are going to bring you a very, very famous old tune, which y'all should know, but it is from New Orleans. Louis Armstrong certainly played it a lot as a classic American jazz tune. It is called When the Saints Go Marching In. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Great to
Corey.
play with you.
Yeah,
Take care, y'all. Go out and listen to some Louis Armstrong.